family, parents, cycles, trends, generational curses, and of course, altars. Family parents, repetitive family patterns, trends, generational curses, and altars. So it comes in different ways because this is part of our series on the mystery of altars, the unsolved or unresolved issues of altars, foundational issues, generational curses, as well as, of course, cycle trends and repetitive patterns in the family. Let's use Abraham as a case study because we want to build the bare bone essentials. First of all, when you want to build a structure, a building, a high rising, an edifice, the first thing you do is to build a sure and solid foundation. We're going to lay down a foundation today about how altars affect families, affect generations, affect destinies, as well as establish repetitive family patterns, yoke of family limitation, cycles, what I call evil cycles, trends, and curses in the bloodline, or in the pedigree, or in the family tree, or in the ancestry. We want to use Abraham as a case study because Abraham is a patriarch. Abraham shows us so many things concerning our own family, our own lineage, our own pedigree, our own genealogy. That's why we start from the book of Genesis, or the origin, or the beginning, or the starting point. And that's why also we get the word genetics, or genealogy, or generation. So here we're going to start with the case of Abraham. We're going to use Abraham and his family as a case study, both his present family and his extended family, as well as his origin or his ancestry. You know, child of God, the word gene is also the word or the key word or the root word where we get the word genealogy or genesis or genetics or generation. And you hear me always say that God is not just a spirit. He is pro marriage, he's pro family, he's pro creational, and he's generational. Amazing. Let's, with that in mind, delve to the case study of Abraham and his family. You know, Abraham came from the Ur of the Chaldeans. If you notice in the history books, they are called the Sumerians. That's where the cradle of civilization started. We are taught in school that civilization started in Egypt and Babylon, and we call them the cradle of civilization. And if you look at the Ur of the Chaldeans, that's where Nimrod started, the guy that built the Tower of Babel. Nimrod is the son of Cush. He's the one we are told is the father of course that killed the mother, actually killed the father and married the mother, Semiramis. And we now got the mystery of Babylon, where we had the child and mother worship. Well, if you look at the background of Abraham, his background was that of idol worship. In fact, the history book tells us that his father Terah didn't just worship idol, but he made idol statues and statues and figurines for a living. So he made idols and sold it in the market of Sumeria, in the market of the Babylonians in those days. Of course, this is ancient Babylon, not the new Babylonian Empire. Well, that is at this background that God called Abraham. And when God called Abraham, already idol worship was already prevalent in his family. In fact, the name of the father was Terah, and Terah means delay. It It means disappointment. It means dejection. It means stagnation. And when God called Abraham, Abraham chose to live with his wife, his nephew Lot, as well as his father Terah. Did you notice on the way that something happened to Abraham's father Terah, and they couldn't move forward? They didn't even settle where they're supposed to until the father Terah died. And when Terah died, until he died, they did not have to move. They were stagnating. They were basically at one spot. They couldn't reach their target. They couldn't get to where they originally intended to travel to. They made out or started out to settle in Canaan. But on the road, the father died. And when the father died, that was only when they began to move forward. And can you imagine a 75-year-old man already? He did not have a child. He did not have wealth. He was poor. He was still living with his parents, his father especially. And moreover, he took Lot. So Abraham basically, in any culture, he was a poor man. He was a failure at 75. But God turned that around down the road if I get ahead of myself. But I want to show you some family pattern here, or trend, or cycles, or repetitive cycles, or evil trends, or patterns, or what I call generational curses that actually emerged or showed up in the bloodline. Child of God, I want to show you things that happened to Abraham. First of all, he was barren, like we mentioned. He didn't have a child at 75. Now, look at the trend in the whole family. Let's trace it. It took Abraham. God made him promise and called him out of the awe of the Chaldeans, from his background, from his father's house, from his country, to the land he will show him. But did you know that Abraham did not get a child until when he was nearly 100 years old, until 25 years later? What happened? Didn't God, or wasn't God, the God of God, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the God of universe, the God that can do anything, the God that can do and undo? Why did his friend Abraham suffer this long? Well, because Abraham came from the lineage of idol worship. And if you look at idol worship, the punishment actually is fourth generation termination or penalty, or termination of blessings. How did I know? The Bible said that if you hate God by worshiping idol, God takes it personally. He said, I'm not only a jealous God, but I will visit iniquity of the fathers unto the children, until the third and fourth generation. Well, approximately, you may argue the extent or the length of, or what a generation is supposed to be in terms of how many years. But for the sake of argument, let's say a generation is 100 years. So for 400 years, Abraham asked the Lord, said, I'm barren. What will he give me? The Eliezer will inherit my estate, will inherit my substance, will inherit everything I accumulated. You blessed me with so far. But God said, no, I'm not going to bless Eliezer. I will bless somebody from your loins. Yet, Abraham had to wait for 25 years. What happened? Barrenness is one of the problems of altars. Barrenness may not be just barrenness of children, but barrenness in every way. Things not moving forward, stagnation, dryness, all kinds of tragedies, all kinds of loss, all kinds of stagnation or personal limitation, or yoke of family limitation, or repetitive evil family pattern. Nobody's getting ahead. Poverty, having kids outside wedlock, things like being accident prone, people end up in jail, barrenness, even of children, which is a biggie, which is where we started. That is Abraham suffered it all. Even when he got Ishmael, he was a mistiming violation against the problem. But look at the barrenness. Let's trace it to the future generation. Not only was Abraham barren, Isaac, his son of promise. I'm not just talking about Ishmael, because Isaac was from the lover, from the real wife. What happened? Because Hagar was just spare wife, or what they call in those days concubine. Of course, it was even Hagar's maid. But Ishmael is where our focus should be right now. When Ishmael, or rather Isaac, the child of promise, Isaac was barren for another 20 years. He got married at 40, and he didn't give birth to his son Jacob until he was 60. So he was barren. Now you would have thought he would have stopped there. When Jacob, who was preferred to Esau, came up, both wives were barren. And I'll give you an example. The Bible says when the Lord saw that Leah, the lady with lazy eye, was hated, and the beautiful Rachel was loved, the Bible says he opened her womb. I don't know about you, but you can't open something that was already open. You open something that was closed. It then means that both the ugly Leah and the beautiful Rachel were married. And these were Abraham, great grandchildren or granddaughter-in-law. These are wives of Jacob, later renamed Israel. Then you saw the beautiful Rachel. Her own barrenness was even more extended, more complicated. To an extent, she said to Israel, then Jacob, say, give me children or I die. Eventually, she died at childbirth. Now, you would have thought that that will just end it. Another parent, child of God that we see is in another area, lies. Let's see the pattern of lies. Abraham lied that his wife is his sister. Isaac, that was not even born several years later, also lied that his wife is his sister. You would have thought that would have ended it. When it came to Jacob, Israel, he didn't just tell a lie. He acted a lie and took his brother's birthright and blessing all at the same time through the connivance and lying deception of the mom, Rebecca. Now, you would have thought the lie would have ended there. His children lied to him about Joseph, that the white beast had torn him apart. They killed a lamb, a kid, soaked his clothes with the blood and brought it to the father and said a wild animal has torn Joseph apart, when instead actually they lied to the father because they sold Joseph into slavery. You would have thought it would have ended there. His children went to Egypt, met the Joseph they saw they did not know, and Joseph lied to them and told them they were spies, and then apprehended them. You might think it's drama and all that, but it's still a lie. And then they went to the father. Eventually, they all came to Egypt. Well, that's the parent. Now look at another thing, the inheritance. Did you notice that in the family of Abraham, that the first son to not come into their rightful inheritance, which according to Hebrew culture and custom, the first son is the son of the right hand, is the son of authority. He's supposed to inherit the double portion of the father's inheritance or the family lineage or wealth. But did you know that Abraham children, the first son who actually supposed to be Ishmael, did not come into the inheritance? You might say, hey, well, he's gotten by a concubine. Well, Everybody still have inheritance according to culture. Even if he's a concubine, he's regarded as wife in those days. So Ishmael was blessed, the father of the Arabs. But they didn't come to the inheritance. All the wealth, all the inheritance, and the main Abraham's heritage was given to what? Who? It was given to, you guessed right, Isaac. Now, Isaac gave birth to two children, Esau and Jacob. You would have thought it would have been corrected. In fact, during their birth, he said 2 nations are in their womb. The younger will rule the older. Instead of saying 2 babies, they say 2 nations. Can you imagine? Again, God is a God of genealogy, He's a God of ancestry, He's a God of procreation, He's God of generation. Do you see what happened? That God sees you as a generation. Already before they were in the womb, the first son lost his inheritance before the drama played out outside. In other words, Jacob was the supplanter, came to the inheritance, and not the first son, Esau. When it comes to Jacob himself, out of his 12 sons, the first son, Reuben, again lost it. He didn't come to the inheritance. For whatever reason, he went and defiled his father's bed by sleeping with the concubine Bilhah, one of the maid of Rachel, when Rachel died. So the father banished him. The inheritance rather went to Judah. The leadership, the scepter, the symbol of authority and rulership went to Judah, whereas the double portion went to Joseph. Now you think Joseph would have corrected it. When it came to Joseph, child of God, and that thing happened, you would have thought, well, since Joseph knew better, he would have known what to do. But it didn't happen that way, child of God. Another thing happened. When it comes to Joseph, he brought his children to his dad when the dad is about to pass away. He brought Ephraim, was his first son in Egypt, and then Manasseh was his second son. And instead of blessing them directly, he crisscrossed his hands. And Joseph said, no, not so, my father. He said, I know. He blessed Manasseh over Ephraim. Again, the first son did not come into the inheritance, just like it happened to Joseph and his family. Now, child of God, you begin to see this pattern. Now, let's talk about the women, the fair woman. Abraham married a fair woman, Sarah. In fact, another word for fair woman in the scripture is beautiful woman. To an extent, at 75, Abimelech wanted a 75-year-old woman and put her together with her harem of concubines or concubinage. Wow. Now, you thought that when it comes to Isaac, he would have corrected it. Even though the person who found his wife was Eliezer, he married a beautiful woman, Rebecca. And apart from that, when it comes to Jacob, he labored for how many years? 14 years working like a dog. After the 7th year, they gave him the ugly, lazy eye Leah. But he said, I don't want to marry Leah. The father-in-law said nobody does. There's a rule in our country that the younger will not be married until the senior married. I didn't see no rule anywhere after then. Then Jacob said, well, I still love Rachel, the beautiful Rachel. Labored for another 7 years just to marry Rachel. After Rachel, he thought that would have ended it. When it comes to, again, beautiful woman, the same thing happened to Joseph. It's like it's in their blood. Look at the lineage. Now, let's talk about something else here too. We've talked about the inheritance. We've talked about lying. We've talked about barrenness. We've talked about, marrying beautiful woman. You could see the pattern in the family. And this has happened to Abraham in every way, shape, manner, or form. And the same thing happened in families today. That's what we call it pattern. And it's this altar that shaped this phenomenon. Look at something that never even happened. Let's take the account of two children. Did you notice Abraham gave birth to two children? Ishmael and of course Isaac. Then you saw that Isaac himself gave birth to twins, Esau and Jacob. Just two. Now you come to Jacob or Israel. He would have given birth to two children because he would have ended up marrying only Rachel. And did you notice that Rachel also gave birth to two babies? Joseph and Benjamin. So were it not for Leah and her having multiple children, Jacob would have ended up with a beautiful wife, his choice, his real heartthrob, the love of his life, had only two children. Now you would have thought it would have ended there. Look at Joseph. How many children did he have? Again, two. Ephraim and Manasseh. I want you to see this pattern. This is what builds up in family. Now, after establishing this, you now begin to understand that when it comes to altars, they alter and actually affect, cause limitation, cause evil pattern, and they affect destiny, they affect lives, and nobody talks about that. Even if you're a preacher, altar can cause a lot of trouble. Look at Elisha, the powerful anointing he had. He's a seer prophet, a deeper prophet than even Elijah. But when he died, the Bible said he died of his own sickness. I went and looked at it. It means that he died of sickness that run in his family, a family pattern, a generational curse. Yet he died with a powerful anointing that raised the dead by his dead bones. Could you believe that? The question is, why didn't he use the anointing to cure himself? When he cured Naaman, the same thing happened. He told Naaman to go and dip 7 times to the river Jordan. And it's a generational thing. It's an altar. Because Naaman confessed that he was worshiping idol at the temple of Ramon, which is the idol in Aramaic or Syria at the time. He normally goes with the king. How did I know that it's a generational thing? Because when the curse was put back at Gehazi, the man of God, being a very serious and dangerous prophet, cursed Gehazi and said, let the leprosy go to him and his generation. His generation did not do anything. Why will you curse the generation? Why can't the leprosy just go back to him? Because the leprosy that was on Naaman was generational curse. And that's why he had to dip 7 times. See, I do utter deliverance. And it's deliverance by sacrifice so that you can understand how this thing works. He had to dip 7 times in River Jordan. Every dip he did was for a generation until his own generation, which was the 7th, before he was made clean. So if we had stopped at 7, at 6, he wouldn't have been made clean. I want you to see the pattern here because I'm deviating a little bit from Abraham for you to see the pattern of family dynamics, how altars control these things. Look at if it's something that never happened in the life of all Hebrew children because of a blessing over Abraham. An altar crushed that. For the first time, Rachel died in childbirth. Why? He didn't. She has no business taking the idol of Laban and putting it under her, saying or lying again, part of lie again, that he didn't steal the father's idol, that he was in her basis, and the father didn't search her, and the altar killed her because she died in childbirth. Why? Delivering Benjamin. The father called it Benjamin, but she called it the son of my pain. The father said, no. It's supposed to be called it Benomi. The father said, no, it's supposed to be Benjamin, the son of my right hand. Now, child of God, let's just apply this because what he says to one, every spiritual law, God says to other. God will use one person and establish a pattern that runs throughout the whole Bible. It's a spiritual law. It's a spiritual principle. So this altar thing is not an Old Testament, not a New Testament thing. God used Abraham to establish this pattern. That's what I want to show you something here, child of God. How family pattern works, how altars operate, how altars affect everything, affect generation, affect marriages. I will show you something. There's a minister. He's my friend. Everybody in their family gave birth to one child. All his brothers. Even if they try to give birth to two child, one will die. That's a parent. He wanted to break it. He divorced his wife, married another wife. That wife became barren. Up to today, he has only one child. So if anything is happening in your family, people are not getting married, and you are seeing it in your mom, or some people are getting, you know, children outside wedlock, or getting in jail, or being accident prone, or on drugs, or poverty, extreme poverty, or people, falling out of school and so on. It's a parent. So if you understand this, you now begin to know and decipher and diagnose and decode why and how author create mysteries that people can't explain, even people in ministry. So if you understand these dynamics, nobody will tell you otherwise, because people say, "Oh, I'm born again," but they don't understand these dynamics. They don't understand how these things work. They don't understand para. They don't understand how background powers, background forces, what we call authors, idols, strange gods, ancient transgenerational authors, and the family deities control people's life, including 85% of their dream. They control 85% of ancestral spirit. They control 85% of incumbus, succumbus. They destroy 85% of success and procreation, marriage, and even health. In the hospital, when something happens, the doctor will ask you your family and social history. But why is it that when we come to church, most of us don't ask questions concerning this? People don't even know. People even ignore the unsolved mysteries, or what I call unresolved issues of foundation, evil family pattern, cycle, strength, and generational curses. When you know this foundation, you begin to analyze, decode, decipher, and diagnose your own family. Do what is called family spiritual mapping. Begin to notice a pattern. Some people, their family is poverty. Nobody will attain a certain financial ceiling. They can't cross that financial glass ceiling. They tend to, no matter how intelligent, how powerful, how they are trained in terms of expertise and skill, they won't cross a certain income bracket. Some people, academics, one of my friends, everything he did, he couldn't pass his exam. His father told him, "Okay, go and study trade," and then took him to a mechanic. At the end of the day, he ran away. He broke that jinx. He went to school. Now he has his master's degree. After he broke that jinx, everybody in his family started going to school. Before, no matter how intelligent, they end up in high school and drop off. Do you know that people dropping off of college, dropping off of school, sometimes just a month to graduation, they drop off? It's order. Do you know that? It's a pattern. Some people, not just something about wealth or finances, their own is procreation. Some people, everybody in the family is either barren, or their wives are miscarrying, or their wife are having stillbirth, or their wife doesn't give birth. They try to change or remarry, marry and remarry, polygamous altar. Things doesn't still happen. They don't deal with the altar. Some people, their own is health problem, diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, crippling arthritis. Some people, their own is accident prone. Everybody in the family, one way or the other, suffer from one accident or the other, one mystery or the other, or mysterious death. We hear this in terms of Kennedy family. Even the secular press, who didn't know anything about family and generational curses, who don't even believe in that. I saw it in Time magazine when J.F. Kennedy Jr. Airplane crashed into the ocean. They say the title was "Is the Kennedy Family Cursed?" You know, the tragedy of the president, the tragedy of his brother, the Attorney General Bobby, and all the family members. The only person that lived long was Ted Kennedy, the senator that was 76. He has his own battle and tragedy. The time he drowned his girlfriend, he never became president. And the tragedy upon tragedy. So whenever you see family pattern, don't go and relax. Some people, their own is death. Every 1 year they'll bury somebody, and they think it's normal. No. I've seen some people, they are 8, now they bury 5. What are the chances? It's a problem. It's family para. Now, if you understand this teaching and this treatise and this course that we are doing, you begin to understand the power of altars to alter everything. Now you might ask me, what are really these altars? These altars are ingrained family deities, strong idols, strange gods, principalities, powers, because some families killed in the ancient time. Some of them sold slaves. Some of them were slave owners or slave raiders. Some of them killed people, spilled blood. Some of them joined society or sorority, Illuminati, Freemason, Reformed fraternity, Rosicrucian order, mystical societies, and some of these societies that are actually occultic in nature. Because of that, their family lineage is affected. I know a man, he did everything to bring my father into lodge, which we call society here. My father refused. Thank God my father had the, effrontery, at least the audacity to refuse. This man married two sisters. He had a lot of money, but too many tragedies. Some of them agree with the devil to not to have children, who are successful. In fact, his sons died tragically in the United States. Anytime any of his sons will come up, they die. Anytime some of his sons will come up, they die at a certain age. One was our neighbor when we were growing up. He didn't know that the agreement with the altar, with the society and sorority, the priest, the covenant they made with the devil is that his building will be uncompleted. His first son didn't know. The day he died, his first son went and completed a building he couldn't complete. That very day, that boy died. So the covenant or the agreement or the pact you sign with the devil may be different. So it's not just family idols. It could be people joining society or sorority or occultic society or this secret society or the Illuminati. These things bring generational curses for the rest of the family as long as you belong to that family tree or bloodline or pedigree or genealogy. That's why we got Genesis. So child of God will come and explain, expand, espouse, and expand this, and as well as explain this phenomenon. You can now, or we can now branch off to different aspects of this repetitive family pattern, trend, cycles, causes, covenants, initiation, dedication. Remember, every spiritual battle is battle of altars. The great author of light, the author of God, the author of righteousness, the author of Jesus Christ, the author of victory, the transcendent author, the superior author, and every other inferior author. So people don't know that these are these demons or these principalities, entities, family deities, or gods, or strange gods, or demigods, or powers from your father's house, or sometimes we call them background powers or foundational power that ruin people's destiny, and even cause yoke of personal or family limitation, and people don't even know, including churches. If you belong to one of these families and you are called to be a pastor or a minister, they will block your sin, they will block your dream, they hinder your spiritual gifts, they will cause delay and stagnation. People will be rising higher and higher in ministry. You won't know why. You may even be more talented. You may even be more word-based, and you know a lot of word. You know a lot of scripture. You pray a lot and so on. You won't be seeing things. You won't be seeing results. You'll be seeing manifestation of answers. You won't be seeing victory. You pray for people, nothing happen. You pray for people, they go somewhere else and give testimony. You are dealing with an idol. Or they can't give you offering, they won't bless you. You become poor even in ministry, and you don't know why. Your gifts are being blocked. Your dream are being blocked. Your marriage is messed up. You see preachers, they marry and remarry. They marry and remarry. It's polygamous altar. The same thing in Africa. If it's Africa or Islam, you are entitled to several wives. But here in America, the law doesn't allow it. What do you think they do? marry and remarry. Say, but he's a good pastor, but he's married 3 times. Why? Altar. I've seen pastors that abandoned their families and went somewhere else with a secretary and started another family. What is that? Altar. Oh, he's a good man, he's a good pastor, but altar is not a good altar. Sometimes we tell them about deliverance, they don't want to hear. They think altar is an Old Testament. Well, if it's an Old Testament, why are you seeing yourself in retrogressive places, your old school, your old house, your old job, your old family house, your old, setup where you grew up back in the day? Because you're dealing with these altars. Sometimes, for people from Africa, they see masquerade. Or when you see policemen, uniform men, waylaying you, stopping you, you are dealing with powers or policeman of the father of altar of a father's house. Or the powers, background powers. These things are the things that alter destiny. They rule. They cancel all your belief in Jesus. Because a lot of times, Billy Graham did it. He stopped people from giving their life to the Lord by telling them you have to denounce your old gods. Because what people do is they add Jesus Christ to the list of their God when they accept Jesus Christ. Billy Graham now told them you have to go and renounce, denounce, cut off from the old gods your family have been having. That time people giving their life to the Lord trapped. So child of God, a lot of us don't even think about these altars. That alter destiny, and alter life, and alter marriage, and alter family wealth, procreation, of alter success, become impediment to breakthrough and turn around. You pray and pray, nothing happen. See, what we do, child of God, is that come, we impart you. I've seen preachers who pray, and fast. Nothing happen. They fast for 40 days, nothing happen. They try this, they try that, it doesn't happen. They know they are called. They know they are anointed. But why is the fire not manifesting? Why is the gift not manifesting? They pray for people, the person won't be healed. They pray for barren people, nothing happens. Altar is blocking it. Sometimes we call them dream blockers and dream erasers and destiny blockers and spiritual gift blockers. These are what the altar does. As a child of God, you're supposed to see the dream of your glorious destiny, the dream of your success in future, dream of your big ministry, dream of your big gift, dream where you're prophesying to people, dream where you're ministering evangelism and winning soul, dream where you're succeeding in your endeavor, your chosen field or career or cash flow, dream where you're feeding the poor, dream. Why can't we have such dreams instead of nightmares and night terrors? Because of this foundational problem. Let me tell you, there are 3 sins. There's sin of victimization, the one people did to you. Let me start from there. There's the ancestral sin we don't even talk about. And then there's your own personal sin, which is what we repented from. Because Jesus is your Lord and personal Savior. But what about the sin of the ancestry? People say, oh, no, things are passed away. So, when all things are passed away, your bloodline passed away? Don't you think you have the bloodline of your parents or wherever you came from? And where you saw yourself is not where you started? And your parents have parents, your parents has grandparents, and so on. Well, we came from a lineage, and you can't deny it. So that's why they come back to the dream to reinforce, renew, reenact covenant in one way or the other, because they are making their presence felt. Some people, they start losing things. They don't know why. Some people cannot keep money. Some people, they make money and money don't stay in their hands. Some people don't know how their word goes. Some people don't know the family pattern, the battle, their part that fought. They started fighting it again. Like Isaac saw Abraham battle barrenness before he came. He came again and started battling barrenness. His son, Jacob, started battling barrenness. The same thing with the lies. The same thing with the fair woman, womanizing. The same thing with the incest. The same thing with the family tragedies. The same thing with family difficulties. The same thing with barrenness. The same thing with yoke of limitation. The same thing with death or degradation or degeneration. There are some families, nobody have no money. They can't make ends meet. Paycheck to paycheck. Everybody is broke. Some people will say, well, I'm not going to beat my mom, my wife rather, the way daddy treated mom. And that's just a talk. They don't know how is working. Boom, he marries and start beating his wife. Because he didn't know that altar, there's a force There's a circumstance beyond his control that he can't even know is there. And this stuff, people don't preach it in church. Child of God. So I don't want it to get long. This is intro. God bless you. This is Dr. Ozo. I thank God for you. I thank God for listening. And then distribute this video. Let your friend know. And then, so that we can do much more for the kingdom. Because this issue of unresolved issue about altar and foundation is very, very important when it comes to the life of the church. First of all, the family. Remember, the church started with the family. And then from family, of course, we get the church. And the church, with this pattern, with this problem, with these issues, are made up of people, including the pastors himself. They are human beings. They have their own issues. They have their own idiosyncrasies. They have their own family pattern. They have all the things we go through. They also go through it. So that your minister doesn't exonerate you from your own family pattern or your own pedigree or from your own issues and all that. So that's how and what you should know about child of God. So a lot of times we really have to know how to move in the Lord, to move and meander over this situation, these circumstances. Because without this idea, this phenomenon of knowing what to do with the altars, you struggle throughout life without even knowing. You blame God, you blame situations, you blame the economy, you blame everything else except the real source of your problem. Because at the end of the day, we want results that terminate in source. At the end of the day, we want to know what exactly we did wrong, where we missed it. We want to know exactly how to proceed. We want to know exactly how to walk in victory, how to defeat these altars, how to become altar practitioner, how to raise up God's altar of fire, God's altar of power, God's altar of victory, God's altar of righteousness. So, child of God, it's amazing that God has come to deliver us with this knowledge of altars, what I call unresolved issue of foundation and altars. So